Welcome! We hope you are prepared because today we'll be sharing with you one of the most cruel and tragic stories to have ever appeared in the channel. What you're about to listen to happened a few years ago in the United States. The school year had just ended and Harry would now start the worst summer of his life. But it wasn't his fault though. His grades had been the highest in the entire school and his parents were very proud of him. At the beginning of the year, they promised Harry that they would take him to Disneyland Paris, which they knew was his dream. However, his father, who had an important position in a multinational company, lost his job due to the crisis. On the other hand, all of the family savings went to costly surgeries the family dog had to go through so it could survive. The parents still wanted to give a gift to their son for his efforts though, but their economic situation was so harsh at the moment that they couldn't even pay rent. And every month they had to choose between eating 3 times a day or pay the landlord part of their overdue rent. For Harry's father, his son's happiness was first. So he explained to his son the terrible financial situation they were going through, hoping he would understand. And then he offered to take his son to his favorite place, Old Fred's store. That was a candy store a bit far away, which was popular even in the biggest cities of the US. Fred was an elderly man who had been working in that store all his life and where he sold the most delicious chocolates and candies in the entire country. Fred was also famous for appearing on TV showing a big smile. There was just nobody who didn't like Fred. It is difficult to believe the sheer amount of strange and delicious flavors that old man was able to create in his lab inside the store. And even knowing all the ingredients, nobody had ever found a recipe to make their candies taste as delicious as Fred's, even to this day. Now let's continue with the story. Even though the store was 40 minutes away, Harry and his father went walking to the store. And during the whole trip, little Harry would skip and jump out of joy. Going to Fred's store was so special that they only went on his birthday. The candy store was so popular that there was a long line to get in, going all around the neighborhood. They had to wait for more than an hour and a half to get in. But since Harry and his dad had such a good relationship, they spent the entire time talking and playing. Once they finally got in, Harry's jaw dropped when he saw the sheer number of chocolates and candies on display in the shelves. However, his joy soon passed when he looked at his father, who seemed to observe the prices with a worried expression. Harry asked his father how many candies he could buy. The father looked at his son and said that at first he could only pay for 2, but that he had saved up a bit in the previous days and could now pay for 10 candies. Harry got really happy and started to put in his basket the candies that he wanted to try the most. Then the father told Harry to please wait for him outside while he waited in line to pay for the candies. Little Harry obeyed his dad and went out of the store, not understanding very well why. Maybe his dad had a surprise for him? 15 minutes passed, but Harry's dad hadn't come out yet. It was getting late as well, and he started to hear strange noises around him. However, there were still some people in the parking lot, so he still felt safe. Time kept passing until it was time to close the store. That's when Harry decided to go back in and look for his father. He looked everywhere, walking through every hall in the store, but couldn't find him. It's as if he had disappeared. Anxiety overwhelmed little Harry, and he couldn't help but cry as he looked for a security guard for help. He went to the register and found 2 security guards talking with each other. He asked them if they had seen his father. The guards looked at each other and their expression became completely serious. "Are you lost, kid? We can take you home, don't worry. Surely your father is alright." That was their response. However, there was something in their tone of voice that didn't convince Harry. He was sure that his father didn't go out of the store, so he had to be inside somewhere. And so Harry ran away, determined to get into the back of the store. Harry crossed through a curtain with a sign which said employees only, and luckily nobody was there to stop him. He kept walking between boxes which contained thousands of candies and sweets, until he bumped into a door. He placed his ear on the door to hear if someone was inside and heard screams of pain. Harry immediately recognized the voice of his father. Nervous, Harry took a deep breath and pushed the door open with all his strength. The first thing the boy saw was Fred holding a pair of pliers. His father was in front, tied to a chair with his mouth open as blood ran through his chin. And he looked at his son with a terrified expression. Then Fred turned around and grabbed little Harry by the neck. He then sat him in front of a screen and proceeded to play a recording from the security cameras. There, Harry could see his father trying to hide under his clothes most of the candies the boy had chosen before getting to the register. Then, in a very sinister voice, Fred said, "If you eat too many candies, you get cavities, but not if you steal them, because then I'll just tear out all your teeth, like I'm doing with your father." The old man then started to laugh. In that moment, the security guards came into the room and stood next to Harry to prevent him from interfering with what was about to happen. The insane old man grabbed a couple of pruning shears, approached the father, took out one of his shoes and his sock, and then cut off his pinky. Fred then did the same thing with the father's other foot. Fred then stood up with a smile on his face, which was covered in drops of blood from the father. The old man was clear with his next words. If anybody said anything about what happened in that room, thugs would go to their house and kill their entire family. Fred snapped his fingers and the guards untied the father. They carried him out of the store, and after making sure nobody was passing through the dark street, they threw him onto the pavement without mercy. Harry saw himself abandoned 40 minutes away from home and unable to tell anyone what happened. His father was losing more and more blood as a red puddle started forming around him. He lost consciousness just 5 minutes later. Crying, little Harry walked around the street looking for help until a man finally passed by who he asked to please call an ambulance. Harry decided to not give any explanation until his father recovered at the hospital. He wanted his father to be the one to decide what to say about what happened. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like it. And if you want to see more Draw My Life videos, subscribe to our channel. See you in the next episode!